Feel that? Let's just breathe into it and let that rain come down on us. I dreamed of rain, and the rain came. At the moment, there is a dream, a desire, an awareness of a wanting or a need. It appears. It comes. It's here. The experience of it, the awareness of it, the fulfillment of it raises up within or rains down from above and around. A good definition of prosperity. The moment of awareness, the moment of a dream, source appears. That is my all-time favorite definition of prosperity. Why? Because it transcends all of our limited ideas of what prosperity is. It transcends the idea that prosperity is just about my money. It transcends the idea that prosperity is about how much I have. And it births an awareness that true abundance and true prosperity is a state of conscious awareness and a learning of the activation of the principles of spirit, a working of the spiritual laws. And when we understand the working of the spiritual laws, when we activate them, when we circulate them, when we let them have their way within our being, we are more rich than any amount of money could ever make us. We are more prosperous within than anything we could ever get or add to us. We recognize that the true source of prosperity is within, and we already have it. There was a funny movie I saw. I'm a little embarrassed to say I went to see this movie, but I did go to see this movie, and I saw it alone. And the movie was that Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Did you see that movie, Seeking a Friend for the End? So I went alone to a movie about seeking a friend for the end of the world. A little bit depressing, but one of the things about the film was that it just really brought home that point that no amount of money can buy what's really important. Because it wasn't so much one of those feel-good films, you know, but it talked about the end of the world, and what if all of a sudden money doesn't mean anything? And people were faced with that question, then what am I really looking for? What is abundance in this moment? What is good in this moment? What do I want? What is my life about? Have you ever had that thought? If I had a week left, if I had a month left, if I had all the money in the world, if I had no money in the world, if money didn't matter, all of those thoughts, what would I be doing? What would abundance feel like? When we don't pause in life to take the time to ask ourselves that question, we go seeking other things. And each time we seek other things, we come up short. So that's one of those valuable questions we can ask ourselves. And in unity, we stand on that principle and on that truth, knowing that knowing source, that knowing these spiritual laws, that activating and utilizing principle is much more valuable than anything tangible, because it is an infinite resource. Eric Butterworth teaches about prosperity and abundance and substance and source as being like learning the laws of mathematics. It doesn't matter how much you use it. It cannot be exhausted. It is everywhere present. But if you put it together, if you get it, it is always right there to be used, and not used in a way that each time you use it, it's diminished, right? The laws of mathematics don't get weaker every time someone applies them. Nor do they really work every time someone takes the first go at them, right? It doesn't necessarily work the first time we say, okay, so I think I put this with this, and that leads to that, and this is how it works. Sometimes it takes trial and error. Sometimes it gets us into expanding our consciousness of how the law operates before we get the results that seem to be promised. Principle and learning principle is better than anything money could buy. The song we opened this morning with about rain brings to mind that phrase by Roger Miller when he said, "Some people walk in the rain, others just get wet." Some people walk in the rain, others just get wet. When we're looking at the idea of prosperity and living in a world of abundance, and in fact, being a world of abundance within, we have to ask ourselves this question: what do we do with what we've got? What do we do with what we've got? Because the fullness of spirit, the fullness of life can only be born in the present moment. And the present moment is about what we've got, what we're present to right here and right now. One of my favorite things is to observe our activities and my own that are incongruent with the visions that we have, right? Even the conversations. And it's a funky practice. It's a funky practice, right? Has anyone engaged in it and had some rude awakenings? Has anyone had some coaching, the people you love in your life going, that doesn't match with what you're saying you want? That doesn't match with an abundance consciousness. What do we do with what we've got? One of the biggest kickers that gets people when they're looking at abundance and life, that gets each one of us from time to time, is that we're sometimes praying for rain when it's already raining. Do you believe that's a possibility? A probability? A likelihood? Something that maybe is happening all the time if we were really aware? So what if we open up to that idea that rain that we're praying for is right here and right now? But it can only be accessed in the present moment. See, we spend so much of our mental and emotional energy and time dealing with the past. Is this your past? Or the future? We struggle with thinking somehow if we get back into the past, we can rearrange it, make it fit right now and feel good. Or we live in the past, we live in a vision, a dream of what may have been, and we still try to create it in the now, even though it's gone. Even though what maybe was the prosperous, abundant dream for that moment isn't aligned with what the prosperous vision dream is for this now moment. And so our energy gets leaked. We put it all in this direction. And when we don't put it in this direction, we start putting it in this direction. And this direction is usually about planning, anxieties, fears, what might happen, what could happen. Or it could even just be in some lofty thinking that keeps our energy high in this dream state about what might come and what might be, but actually diffuses the energy that's right here. And part of our spiritual practice is always taking all of our source potential from out here and bringing it to right here. So what does that look like realistically? What does that look like when we talk about abundance and prosperity on a day-to-day basis and valuing what we've got? Valuing what we've got. One of the steps is the awareness that a lot of times we're asking for more before we've done what we could do with what we have. We're asking for more before we've done what we can do with what we have. What is the condition of the inside of your car? If someone was to sit down in the seat right now, would you have crumbs on your tush? If we were to put a coffee mug or a tea mug in the cup holder, would you pick it up? Would there be things hanging? Anyone prayed for a bigger house? More space? What is the condition of the one we're in? Anyone prayed for more stuff? How do we treat the stuff we have? Anyone prayed for a better relationship? How do we show up for the one we have? In a universe that listens in energies, in a universe that is a field of vibration and consciousness, there's a different language. And that language responds to what am I doing with what I have. So if it's raining and I am sitting here going, come on, rain, more rain. More rain, more rain. And the field of consciousness knows, sweetheart, it is flooding gloriously, gloriously. Light is flooding, love is flooding. It is overflowing and abundant into every cell of your being, into every relationship, revitalizing, renewing. And I'm sitting here saying, rain, rain. Do you think the field of consciousness thinks I can handle more, or that it will go to waste? Am I an open space? Am I a receptive vessel to say, through my actions, through my activities, through my stewardship, that yes, enlarge my territory because I get it. Enlarge my territory because I value it. Enlarge my territory because I appreciate it. Prosperity is really a state of consciousness, right? It's a state of consciousness, an active, awakened, vibrant state of consciousness. It is a consciousness, and it's a consciousness that is experienced in every now moment, that responds to harmonies, to vibrations, to activities in awareness that welcome in more abundance. And with that comes a great responsibility. We all know the prayer of Jabez, right? That enlarge my territory, enlarge it so that I may be about the good work. But to pray for enlarging the abundance and prosperity one has, without praying first for the consciousness, we can come up wanting. How do I steward what I have? Oscar Wilde said, never look back unless you are planning to go that way. No man is rich enough to buy back his past. So that very first step is being in this very present moment. In the present, not in the future, not in the past. To what is right in front of us. And say, how can I activate, how can I increase my practice of honoring and valuing what is? For me, for my world. I had a friend tell me when buying a house, he said, I was getting tips, right? You need a lot of tips when you buy a house. And one of the tips he gave me was this. He said, every time, I've had a place, I wait until the end when I'm about ready to move, and I meet with the realtor, and we talk about all the things that need to be fixed or need to be upgraded and need to be taken care of, and then I get it all done, and then it's beautiful and it's fabulous, and then I sell the house to someone else so that they can live in it, all fixed up, beautiful, nice, lovely. Do you feel that? What is that about? What is that about? I'm going to make it good when I get rid of it, but not good when I'm the one living in it. What is that about? Do we value ourselves enough to fix it up, to make it good for while we're living in it? The relationship, the finances, the stuff. Are we really willing to value it? When he said that to me, it was a great epiphany. I thought, yeah, you're right. Fix it up while we're here and while we're using it. Because circumstances shift, don't they? One of the things that we focus on is making sure that we're valuing what is, we're honoring, and that we're utilizing what's there in front of us. When we don't, we have those rude awakenings that life shifts and life changes. And just like we may sell the house and then we don't get to experience all the fruits of our labor, so does life shift and relationships shift. And sometimes we miss what's right in front of us, like the friends and the family members, our divine appointments in this now moment. The universe is so amazingly woven that everyone that is in our experience, that is right where they are in their life experience, is there for a reason and a purpose, and it's good and it's glorious. Do you believe that? So when we draw all of our attention to a moment, we don't miss these knowings. Have you ever had a time where there was a relationship that shifted and you recognized all of a sudden that you didn't value it when it was right there? Maybe it's that someone had all the time for you in the world and then they got married and had a baby. And now life is different, so there's not as much time. Maybe you had your children around and then they grew up and they moved to another state. Maybe you had an experience with a group of people that were a really amazing group of people, but you didn't really value it, and then all of a sudden this happened and that happened and things shifted. Maybe someone's health changed. Maybe someone passed, right? And one of the least abundant feelings is knowing that there was all of this good surrounding us, and we failed to tap into it. We failed to recognize how amazing that moment was, how amazing that gift of all of the divine appointments of the exact people who are right in our lives at the right time, because we were sitting there wishing something else was there, someone else was there, more was there. Only in retrospect do we tap into sometimes that idea where we can just turn around, look out the window of our past and say, oh, it was raining. Good rain. Oh, it was good rain. It was raining good, good rain. I missed that. I missed that. And if we stay in there, then we don't recognize now, it's raining again. It has a different form. But we've got to take our eyes off the window. Bring our eyes to now. Value now. Show through our thoughts and our words and our actions that we care for this moment and that we're willing to steward this moment. Because do we want to put out the vibration that I can't handle more? Or do we want to get into and elevate what we've got? In sacred scripture in Matthew 7:6, it's that famous verse about throwing pearls before swine. Now, I'm not saying that we're swine, but we can think about this, right? We all probably have, you're going to love this, swine consciousness. And maybe we've been thrown some pearls, and it's ours to elevate the consciousness so that we see the pearls for what they are. Do not give to dogs. I'm not saying that we're dogs either, but dog consciousness. Do not give to dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and then tear and turn you to pieces. Turn and tear you to pieces. A lot of times we can see that passage used about other people. What if we turn it around and take it for ourselves? Let's take a moment. Just take a deep breath. And I invite you to close your eyes. And think about what you have said you want more of. Maybe There's a place where you've said, I don't have enough this or that. What do you want more of? And then breathe into, what are you doing with what you have in relation to this idea of what you want more of? Is what you have valued, honored, cleaned, circulated, well cared for? Is it a part of today's dream? Is there anything that's been hidden, messy, abused, filthy about yesterday? Is there any aspect of a consciousness that doesn't see the pearl or doesn't value the pearl? And if there was a key, and that key was to clean up the consciousness, was to elevate the awareness, was to first birth and expand the consciousness of abundance, the consciousness of stewardship, the consciousness that can behold an enlarged territory, then what alignments would I be ready to make? What alignments would I be ready to make? How may I move into maximizing my appreciation for what is? And am I willing to experience? Am I willing to experience this true knowing that it is always raining all things God? My universe is always raining all things God. Breathing into that. How will we show up differently for what is right in front of us? How will your language change? How will the care that you bring to this situation shift? How will you step in to really showing the abundance of each moment by maximizing everything that is with care, appreciation, and use of the principle? With a deep inhale and exhale, I get it. Let's say that together. I get it. Again, I get it. It's raining God. Together, it's raining God. This is how we bless what we have. And bringing that awareness to this moment, right here and right now. How do we bless God? How do we bless our world with abundance? We bless by giving it back. We bless by sacred stewardship. We bless by recognizing that we are a wondrous part of a field of consciousness. How do you measure a rich man? How do you measure a rich woman? We set the stage. We unfold the principle. We are the measuring stick. We are co-creators. Namaste.